Hey guys, welcome to another demo. Today we're going to be talking about doing something, undoing it, and then redoing it. So using Control C, or Control Z or Shift Control Z to do or undo something, undo or redo something. And then we're also going to be getting into today touching up images. So we've got a touch up one image for this assignment. There will be two different images that you will touch up. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that we're going to do, let's do a little review. Top bar here is the menu bar. We've got our options bar right below it. To the left, we've got our tools panel, and to the right, we've got our panels. And then the whole space here is our document window. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to Window, and then we're going to go to Workspace and make sure that we're set to Photography. The reason we're going to do this is because this will allow us to bring in these three tools. We've got our healing brush tool, we've got our spot healing brush tool, and then we've got our remove tool. All of these tools kind of essentially do the same thing. They can take blemishes and remove them. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our healing brush tool. This one actually samples a selection from the photo and then copies it to a new selection. So I'm going to zoom in here holding Alt, clicking and dragging, and we can see on this person's face, I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt, and it creates the cursor kind of changes into like a little, I don't know, like crosshairs with a circle around it. And so I'll hold Alt and then click, and then when I do that, you can notice that it actually samples that part of the picture and makes it show up in the area that I want to put it in there. So if I click once, you can notice it samples those pixels, throws it in there, and also adjusts the color to make it look like it disappears. So again, this is our healing brush tool. In the same way, like basically what you can do is you can always change it. So if you have like a perfect sampling, you can just like leave it there and then sample that particular sample. If I put it on this blemish, you'll notice it's going to want to put that blemish anywhere that I click. And so it repeats a pattern, which can be not really desirable. So I just did something I don't want to do. To undo it, I'll do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and that undoes it. If, say, for example, I wanted two of those undone but not all three, I can then hold Shift, Control, and then hit Z, and it redoes one of those options there. And that's basically the redo. So Shift, Control, Z, redoes, Control, Z, undoes. All right, so again, we've got our healing brush tool. Let's go ahead and go to the spot healing brush tool. So spot healing brush tool, you don't actually have to sample. You're just gonna kind of like cover over the area that you want fixed, and then the computer kind of uses artificial intelligence and samples pixels around there to kind of like make that stuff disappear. So I can just like even just like spot click on things, and it starts to make those things go away. Photoshop is also, or Adobe, they've also made a modification to this like Band-Aid tool, so the healing. Originally it was just the heal and the spot heal tool. So now they've got this new one called the remove tool. And so in the same way, if you increase your brush size, you can just like paint over a section that you want removed, and it uses some AI generative abilities to kind of like fill it in with pixels that kind of makes sense. This one's probably the most impressive one in that it kind of like cleans up messes pretty easily. Here you can kind of see there's a little bit more of like an even pixel distribution there, so like maybe it doesn't work super well there. And so this is where like changing your brush size might be really helpful to like make these photos, when they get touched up, actually look believable. So you want to like leave some of the texture of the skin, but maybe remove some of those blemishes. Scaling the brush up with my brackets, right bracket, click, there it goes, disappears. Say you want to get rid of a beauty mark on the neck, that can disappear pretty easily. Again, with any of these tools, the heal, the spot heal, or the remove brush. Now, while you're working you may like do a bunch of moves and then you kind of want to like step back in time and see those things individually and remove, like go back to a particular period of time. So if we go into window, we can come down into this one right here, which is history. And the history panel, I'm just going to pull it out into the main screen here. If you pull it out, you can kind of see all of the actions that took place all the way to opening. So if I click on open, you can see all of these actions disappear back to the original. I can see my spot heal functions, and I can kind of like move through history through all of these actions from the beginning of time when I first opened the file to where I am presently. Again, this only works within a certain number of moves. Eventually, like in Photoshop, it can only save so many actions, and so you can only go back in time only a specific set of steps. So it's a good idea to save in between those positions or to work in a way that's called non-destructive work, so that if you ever need to return to the original photo, it'll be there and available. That's where we're going to stop today, though. So learning Control-Z, which is to undo, Shift-Control-Z, which is to redo, finding your history palette through Windows History, and then being able to use these 3 healing brushes, the healing brush, the spot heal brush, and the remove brush. All right, guys, take care.